year. Beef prices, for example, are at an all-time high. Donald Trump promised that he was going to lower inflation on day one. He lied. Inflation has continuously increased. The most recent report has inflation increasing above expectations to 2.7%. Core CPI increased even more to 2.9%. And what are congressional Republicans doing? Nothing. In fact, it's even worse than that. They are actually ending this week early because they're afraid to cast votes on the Jeffrey Epstein issue. The Rules Committee is not meeting because they're afraid to cast votes to release the Epstein files. So you've got this Epstein issue affecting congressional operations and making sure that the congressional Republicans don't work on trying to lower costs. So this is an epic cover-up, right? This is a cover-up of epic proportions where you've got the majority party literally having us leave Congress early and not having the Rules Committee meet because they don't want to deal with releasing the Epstein files. We should release the Epstein files. It is what Donald Trump campaigned on. It's what Attorney General Pam Bondi talked about this February when she said the Epstein client list was, quote, sitting on her desk right now. Why don't we have that client list? And these are the questions the American people keep asking, and the story is not going to go away because at core, this is an issue about underage women who were sexually abused and assaulted. Attorney General Pam Bondi should not be protecting Jeffrey Epstein's legacy, nor his clients, nor should congressional Republicans be doing the same. With that, it is my honor to introduce our amazing field general for the DCCC, Congresswoman Susan DelBene. She's done a fantastic job, and she's going to discuss what we talked about this morning.
Thanks, Vice Chair Lieu and Chairman Aguilar. Good morning, everyone. This morning in caucus, we presented how we're holding House Republicans accountable for their disastrous agenda and our path to retake the majority. We hear over and over and over again from people back home that the top issue for them is affordability and lowering costs for everyday goods. By all accounts, Republicans have failed miserably in the time that they've had the trifecta. Prices are still rising, whether it's housing, health insurance premiums, or everyday things like food and groceries. Republicans broke their promise to lower costs. Their big, ugly law is just another broken promise. It rips coverage away from millions of people and will raise health care bills for everyone, regardless of what kind of insurance that they have. And it takes food off the table from hungry families and children. It guts funding for rural hospitals and increases ER wait times. Energy bills will go up for families across the country. Republicans did all of this to pay for tax breaks for the wealthiest few. Their agenda is cruel, it's extreme, and an absolute disaster. And the American people agree. In poll after poll, we see that the Republicans' bill is massively unpopular. The more people learn about it, the more they oppose it. The one lie Republicans keep telling themselves is that voters won't punish them in the midterms because the American people won't feel the pain of the cuts until after the election. Aside from the fact that this is exactly the kind of insincere political gamesmanship the public hates, it's also not true. In a matter of months, millions of people will see their health insurance costs go up by an average of 75%. Rural hospitals are already announcing they'll close down and cut services. So no matter how many legislative games that Republicans try to play, there's no hiding from the facts. The big, ugly law will devastate and have devastating consequences that will absolutely be felt by working families. Republicans are poised to lose the majority next year, and they know it. You can tell by the way they're behaving. They avoid in-person town halls because they're afraid to face the public when they have to talk about their big ugly bill. House Republicans are headed for the exits. We already have 3 vulnerable Republicans decide to retire or not run for re-election because they know they're not going to take the majority. And we know there are more with one foot out the door who may soon announce that they won't seek re-election. So in these last 6 months, Republicans have broken promise after promise, feeding into a larger narrative that reminds everyone that they don't work for the American people. They work for the elite, the powerful, and the billionaires. It's a theme we hear on the ground day after day. And if House Republicans would take the time to listen to their constituents back home, instead of only working and waiting for Donald Trump to tell them what to do, they would know. But instead, they blindly follow his orders that are hurting our economy and hitting the American families in their pocketbooks. And that's why they'll lose the majority. House Democrats will hold every single vulnerable Republican accountable for their betrayal against their communities when they supported the big, ugly bill. We have the better message, we have stronger candidates, and public sentiment is on our side. And next year, we'll have the gavels. Thank you, and I'll turn it back to Chairman.
Thank you, Chair Dobene. Questions?
Thank you. House Oversight just approved a subpoena of Ghislaine Maxwell. What are the main questions? What are the leading questions that you have for her?
I'm not on the House Oversight Committee.
For
I
your
won't
co-
be.
for your
Yeah,
caucus,
I
what
won't.
would you
I
hear?
won't be in those meetings. But let me tell you our position. Donald Trump and House Republicans want to protect the rich and the powerful. It's the basis of their one big ugly bill, and it continues to be the theme when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein. House Democrats want the truth to come out. We're going to continue to support those efforts. Donald Trump and his son and his closest friends spent years fanning the flame of this theory, and now we're holding them accountable. Do they want to protect the rich and the powerful, or do they want the truth? Those are the questions that the Oversight Committee hopefully will get to the bottom of. Nick?
On redistricting, I mean, for Councilman Del Bene, how much harder will it be for Democrats to retake the House if Republicans go ahead with redistricting in Texas? And then, for that matter, do you want blue states to go ahead with mid-cycle redistricting as well?
You know, Republicans are running scared, and it's pretty clear that they know they can't win on their message with voters. They're not listening to them. So they're trying to rig the system, and they're going to try. They've brought this issue up in Texas. They shouldn't do it. They should be careful what they ask for, because they will make Republicans more vulnerable too, and we will compete in every single one of those districts. So Republicans will lose their job if this is the path that they go down. And the American people are against it. They want to make sure that that it's not politicians trying to pick their voters, but voters actually get to pick their representatives.
Let me add a California piece. I'll turn it over to the Vice Chair as well for his thoughts. It's our belief that we can't fight with one hand behind our backs. House Republicans passed this one big ugly bill to kick 17 million people off of health insurance 2 weeks ago. And the first thing that they do after the celebratory high fives at the White House is push forward redistricting efforts to hold on to power. It doesn't sound like a group that's very confident in the policy that they passed, so they want to rig the system. But there should be a response. We can't let Texas go unanswered, and it's our belief that we should do whatever we can to protect democracy. We shouldn't stand on the sidelines while Republicans unwind districts in order to consolidate power to give Donald Trump even more ability to threaten our democracy and set aside the rule of law.
Thank you. In 2018, Democrats flipped the House by 40 seats. One reason it was such a big number is because Republicans thought they were smart when they did gerrymandered redistricting and made a bunch of Republican districts that were sort of Republican, and they thought they could win. Well, they lost them all in that wave. So Atlas Intel, one of the most accurate pollsters last term, came out with a new poll showing Democrats ahead +10 on the generic congressional ballot. So I dare Republicans in Texas and Ohio to do redistricting. I dare you to take incumbent Republicans right now and make their seats less safe, because we're going to flip them.
Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It seems as though the trust deficit between Republicans and Democrats have widened even more since the March CR debate, now that they passed the reconciliation bill and decisions, as a member of leadership and as an appropriator. I'm just curious your thoughts heading into recess. How are you feeling about the appropriations process when you all come back? There won't be a lot of time to try to keep the government open. How are you feeling about just where the appropriations process stands? The Senate hasn't passed any bills. The House has only taken up 2 bills. They were party line votes. Just kind of take a step back and give me a state of play as we head into recess.
It's a pretty broken problem. It's a pretty broken system right now, the appropriations process. I'm not going to lie. This is a place where, and I think Kevin McCarthy, kind of started to break this process when he put Freedom Caucus members on the committee. He did that to try to become speaker and to hold the gavel. And we're suffering from that consequence now. The committee's always been a place where reasonable people come together, disagree, and then try to find some common ground and use the appropriations and budgeting process to find common ground to meet the needs of our constituents. We're struggling with that right now, and in the room you see that. Rosa DeLauro is an amazing leader. Tom Cole has a lot of respect, but when you continue to give power to Donald Trump and Russ Vought, who says the appropriations process should be less bipartisan, you're really lifting up some pretty dangerous actions and rhetoric, and we're seeing that. So it isn't just about the rescissions bill. It's about do we have a process or not? Do we trust that the executive is going to spend the money that we allocate? Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7, no money, but in consequence of appropriations. Like, do we stand behind that or not? And I think that's a question for our Republicans colleagues that they're going to have to mull this August, and we hope that they come back and feel a little differently than they have in the past. Appreciate the question. Allie? And then.
Are you concerned at all about the strength of Republican fundraising, and do your members need to do more in terms of giving dues or donating to front runners?
Look, I'll take the first try at that, and then I'll let Chair Del Bene. We need to do everything we can to gain the majority. Everything. Every single member, every way, every possible opportunity we can to help the team. That's what this needs to be about. And I would even argue some of this redistricting, discussion needs to be in that frame too. I understand that people serve different communities and different constituencies. If we have an opportunity to push back against some dangerous behavior that Texas is doing, we should do it with the single focus of making Hakeem Jeffrey speaker and protecting democracy and restoring some sanity back to this place. So every member should be giving dues, helping out, helping a colleague, doing town halls in other districts, filling the need that exists to drive our message and to communicate that we stand for rural hospitals. We stand for people getting health care. We stand for affordable living and an opportunity to make a living and realize the American dream. Those are things that we stand for as a party, and that we need to focus every member's attention on that.
Just to add that, public sentiment is with us. I've been across the country talking to folks. Folks are outraged and scared, frankly, about what's happened under this administration and Republicans who have just let it all happen. But they rewarded their biggest donors with a big bill to tax breaks for the wealthiest and the well-connected, and they saw a benefit from that. But we have grassroots support across the country. It's strong. And when we have great candidates who are talking about the issues that matter on the ground, issues like lowering costs, making sure that people have health care, these are the issues that matter to folks in our districts, and that's absolutely, people are with us, and that's absolutely why we'll take back the majority.
The Republicans are saying that your calls to bring out all the Epstein files are essentially disingenuous because it's very energetic to have all the Epstein files released now, but the last 4 years of during the Biden administration, those calls weren't there. Can you respond to that?
I think that's false. Vice Chair Lieu has been talking about this for a lot of years, so I'll let him speak. But this comes down to what are Republicans afraid of? What's in these documents that they're afraid of, and why won't they call for the release of them? Jeffrey Epstein was prosecuted under the Department of Justice under Donald Trump. Then he leaves the White House, and his closest friends spend 4 years amplifying theories about the case. Put up or shut up. Follow through or don't follow through. But the American people want the truth to come out, and Democrats are the ones leading the charge for that.
During the Biden administration, I talked about the Epstein files, and I noted that Trump was all over the Epstein files that were already released. There's multiple pictures of Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. There's multiple videos. There are bizarre quotes from Trump about Epstein. There are plane logs of Trump on Epstein's plane, and now we know there's this creepy birthday card. And guess what? I'm right and he was wrong, because, again, Trump is all over the Epstein files. Let me just say again what I just said. There are multiple pictures of Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, right? There are multiple videos of Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Trump is on Jeffrey Epstein's plane logs. There are weird quotes from Trump about Epstein. There are court pleadings with Trump named. And now we know there's this creepy birthday card Trump wrote to Jeffrey Epstein on his 50th birthday. So I am right. That fact checker was wrong. And why do you think we have this entire explosion now about Epstein? Because Attorney General Pam Bondi, here's the difference, went on national TV and told the American people that Jeffrey Epstein's client list was, quote, sitting on my desk right now. Where's that client list? Why doesn't she release it?
Can't take down the props. Go ahead.
So Hunter Biden on a podcast essentially blamed some of your colleagues being disloyal to President Biden for Democrats' loss in 2024. Do you think these comments are helpful?
I understand a son's love for their father. Those two have a very close relationship, so I understand the sentiment behind it. I've never met Hunter Biden. He's not a colleague. He didn't vote to cut 17 million people's health care. That's what we're focused on, so I'm not really going to get into back and forth on Hunter Biden. We're focused on the issues of the day. I understand the sentiment around what he's saying, but people are going to get kicked off of health care because of actions that House Republicans have taken here. That's the most important thing. I've said before in the past that 100 days isn't enough to run a presidential campaign. I've been clear on that. Things could have been different, but we're moving forward, and we're trying to protect health care here. Go ahead.
Just looking ahead to next year, are you at all concerned about your ability to focus voters' attention on the forthcoming Medicaid cuts, given that the tax provisions of Trump's bill are going to take effect that tax season?
This is a deeply unpopular bill. We know that already. We need to continue to hammer that message. And as the American people see more information about the bill, it becomes less popular. So I understand what you're talking about. Some of the provisions going after Medicaid don't take into effect until late next year and early 2017. But guess what? Health insurance premiums are going up. Companies are making decisions because they know there's going to be less revenue as a result of $1 trillion cuts to Medicaid, the largest Medicaid cut in history of this country. So healthcare premiums will rise. That will happen early. Insurers will make these decisions as well. And hospitals are going to have to face difficult decisions on what their future looks like. Rural hospitals and clinics between now and next November are going to have to make some tough decisions. And they should be clear and honest with their constituents and the public as to why they're in this position. It's because House Republicans cut $1 trillion out of Medicaid. And so the task has always been, hard. The task has always been about what represents what's best for the American people. But this is something we know is deeply unpopular. People love and respect Medicaid and Medicare, and these are programs that face cuts under Donald Trump and House Republicans.
Last question.
I was just going to say the premium proposals out there right now, premiums, healthcare costs go up to 75%. I said in my opening remarks. So people are looking, this would take place next year. People are feeling the impacts already. And so this isn't about everything being delayed. It's about costs going up for people right now.
Last question. Back. Go ahead. Yep.
Thank you.
Well, one of the lessons we learned wasn't just in the spring, but this kind of started in December, right? When we had bipartisan CR that the speaker put out and then backed away from because he got scared by Elon Musk. That really, kind of startled all of us. When you in our world, when you release a CR, when you post it and put it up in public, it's a deal, and you support it. So for the speaker to back away from that, that continued, and obviously it became a smaller CR in March. But I think it did set the course for some of the dysfunction and craziness that we've seen here under this dome. From our perspective, look, we are united against these terrible cuts. House Republicans are looking to cut programs that everyday Americans rely on, looking to cut the Department of Education. I'm heading over to the appropriations bill where they're going to continue to cut our park system and introduce more pesticides and make it easier for corporate polluters to get by. Those are the things that House Republicans stand for. So I think it's pretty easy for us as we weigh our decisions here on how we proceed. The burden is on Republicans. Ask them what their plan is to get a majority vote. Right now, House Republicans and Senate Republicans aren't even on the same page. Get them to let you know what the funding levels are and what their path to a reasonable appropriations process looks like, because they're clearly listening to Russ Vought and not working in a bipartisan way as we have in the past. Thank you so much.
Marvelous, lovely as always. My bones are fading.